Let's take a closer look at that. And for that, we're joined by Thomas Hayes, founder and chairman and managing member of Great Hill Capital. Thomas, always a pleasure. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Sean.
Okay, so what do we know about DOGE? It seems like it's a moving target. Day 2 in office, and we're back to this kind of chaos that seems to follow the current president. Elon Musk firmly entrenched, but as we heard, Vivek Ramaswamy out, and Trump saying DOGE will be entrenched in the executive branch, not an outside committee. I know just threw a lot at you, but how important is this going to be to the U.S. economy, and what ripple effects do you expect to see through the markets?
Well, I think this is a big deal, Sean, because as you know, the interest expense has ballooned in the last few years, nearly doubling from under $500 billion to now over $1 trillion a year due to interest rate increases and spending, 120% debt to GDP. So it's absolutely essential that not only does this initiative work, but more importantly, that it is perceived to be working, because I don't think we're going to get $2 trillion of cuts, and I think Elon Musk has intimated as much by saying, well, $2 trillion would be nice, $1 trillion is more realistic. I think if they got $500 billion, it would be huge. To get out of this type of mess historically, the number one thing you need is massive growth, and I think this White House is keenly focused on massive growth through deregulation and through tax cuts and through other growth initiatives. But we do need a perception of getting that spending under control, and that's what DOGE is all about.
Yeah, this perception is important. And look, this isn't the first time a U.S. president has vowed to cut the fat in federal government. And Trump, in his first term, added more money to the federal deficit than any president. So tell me why this time things are going to be different.
Well, I think that there's no choice, okay? In order to get the interest rates under control, he wants to bring interest rates down. You can only control that through the Fed, which is an independent body. And the long end of the curve is really going to tell you whether the market believes they are getting the spending under control. But there are some sensible ideas that are coming out as a function of this dialogue, which is consolidating a lot of these redundant government agencies or making them more efficient. Even you've heard the idea of reducing the number of them from 400 down to 100, which would be a tall order, probably a wish list more than a reality. But if we move in this direction, it's going to send the right message to the market. More people will want to buy our debt. We can refinance at lower rates while we wait for growth to pick up a bit. Yeah. Growth has been good. It could get better.
Thomas, you make some great points, and that there is a need to do this, to kind of streamline government. So what role will DOGE play, if you will, in cryptocurrency regulation? And I ask this because the president, the first lady have launched their own crypto. So the fact that he has that and a billionaire is overseeing overall of this, does it kind of smack of trouble down the road?
Yeah, the crypto thing is pretty gray at this moment, because he did appoint David Sachs as the crypto czar originally, and then David had a lot of ties in Silicon Valley that enabled him to be more of an advisor than take a major role in the administration. So there's some ambiguity about crypto. As far as DOGE related to crypto seems to be a separate initiative that will be under the crypto czar, that will be under other purviews besides DOGE. DOGE is predominantly focused on reducing the cost.
Okay, so cuts from DOGE and more efficient workforce. So if you're a federal worker right now in any agency, and there are a lot of them out there, are you nervous? Are you anxious? Are you antsy? And what are the markets looking for?
Yeah, I do think you are. I think the first thing that they did was do the executive order that you must come back to work in the office 5 days a week. That will probably trim 5 to 10% of the workforce without them having to do much, just to start with, because not all people can work from the office 5 days a week that have family and other commitments. So that will help. We've seen hopes or wish lists or assertions from the people involved or around DOGE that they could cut 75% of government employees. That is a tall order that is unlikely to be anywhere near met. I would be a little concerned if you're not in an indispensable position. I do think there's going to be consolidation of agencies. I do think there's going to be a reduction of the workforce. All the work is going to be done in person. And as they bring in software and more efficient processes to the federal government, that will reduce a lot of make work. So I would expect to see, I'm not thinking anywhere near 75% reduction, but 10 to 20% is realistic.
Okay, you only have 30 seconds. Now, Trump has had some major fallouts with people he's been close to. What happens if Trump and Musk collide and this friendship crashes and burns?
Well, I think it's a symbiotic relationship because Musk certainly needs the administration for some of his initiatives with regard to SpaceX and automated driving and other projects that Musk is involved in. And Trump needs the expertise. You know, the one thing about Trump is he is very attentive to people who have areas of specific expertise, and in many cases are wealthy or wealthier than he is. He loves to listen to their viewpoints because he takes them very, very seriously. I think that adds a lot from Elon's credibility as it relates to tech, as it relates to some of the initiatives where Donald Trump doesn't quite have the background as a real estate developer and businessman. He's not so focused on some of the things that are happening in the economy now. And that's where Elon can provide a tremendous amount of value for Trump, for the administration, for the country. So right now, it's really too symbiotic to have a fallout, unless we saw an instance where the spotlight started to get excessively stolen, which
it gets crowded in there really quickly.
Exactly. So that's a risk, but I think it's less of a risk than people are making it out to be at the moment because they both need each other.